volume 3 of Ed Brubaker's run on Daredevil. This is the trade paperback Ultimate Collection. It's actually the biggest of the 3 that are available. And this, for me, is where Ed Brubaker's run becomes a must-read and an absolutely sort of essential Daredevil comic. So, as I said, it's still written by Ed Brubaker. The artwork in the majority is still done by Michael Lark, even though there are quite a few artists that contribute towards this. So, as you can see here, the artwork in the first issue, for example, is quite a bit different, different style, a bit more cartoony, which is good. You know, I like that. I like a little bit of sort of visual variety in my comics. But basically this follows the, and I don't know sort of how to explain the plot in the briefest of details without sort of spoiling it for you. But it deals with Matt still out of prison, you know, trying to piece his life back together, and is actually sort of confronted by the Hand, which is the sort of like League of Assassins or whatever that it is sort of quite a big part of sort of Daredevil mythology and stuff. He's confronted by the Hand. He also deals with the return of Wilson Fisk into the comics because he's not been seen for a little bit. And there's, you know, the odd case that I believe Matt Murdock sort of picks up as well in his lawyer sort of capacity. So this book, this is where Brubaker really, I mean, he started sort of doing this in book 2, you know, started making changes to the status quo of Daredevil, but this is where he really sort of takes that idea and runs with it. Now, the Hand, for those of you who may already know, basically this is like a sort of a mild spoiler as to the Hand's motivation, so if you don't want to know them, maybe switch off now. But basically the Hand want to recruit Matt Murdock and Daredevil to lead them going forward. So I thought that was a sort of interesting idea for a plot, and I believe, and I've not read, it was Andy Diggle's run that follows Ed Brubaker's, where Matt Murdock leads the Hand, I believe, becomes possessed by a demon and stuff. And to be honest, I've heard that run isn't very good, and it's also quite difficult to collect in trade, so I skipped that and went straight to Mark Waid's run on Daredevil, which is the Marvel Now stuff. But this book, basically, it sets all that up. You know, you have several confrontations with the Hand, as you can see there, and I think the artwork sort of perfectly suits that type of plot line with all the ninjas and stuff. You have Lady Bullseye make a return to the comic, as you can see here. Lady Bullseye is somebody that Daredevil Matt Murdock has fought in the past, and a character that really I don't know anything about, but they... You know, I did think, oh, is she just going to be another sort of Miss Male character, just a female version of Bullseye? But no, she has enough sort of distinctive personality traits that I think make her interesting and an interesting sort of villainess. So I quite enjoyed Brubaker's take on Lady Bullseye. I also enjoyed some of the what happens between Lady Bullseye and Wilson Fisk. That's all quite interesting. But the reason that this book is essential for me is that it's basically setting up everything that's going to happen to Matt in future story arcs, even if they're story arcs that I'm not going to read, because like I said, the Diggle stuff I think is really difficult to get a hold of and that, so... but Brubaker definitely messes with the status quo, and his run on Daredevil, once you get to the end and you see all the stuff with the Hand and Wilson Fisk comes back into it, you know, stuff that happened in Volume 1, sheds more light on that and makes that a better read the second time around. So this book really ties everything together for me, but also paves the way for future story arcs, and I really enjoyed it. This is where I feel like Brubaker is taking more risks, being a bit more inventive and a bit more creative than he was previously. And like I said, it's the fact that it sort of sheds new light on characters' motivations in previous arcs that makes it essential. And it really, to me, it sort of saves his run from being mediocre. Because I do really like Brubaker's run. It's one of the best runs I've read on Daredevil, and like I say, I feel like through these series of videos I've been doing reviewing the Ultimate Collections, I feel like I've been very negative towards his run, but to be honest, it is really good. And like I say, for anybody who's reading through Daredevil like I did, I made the mistake of reading Bendis' run and then not having a gap before reading Brubaker's, and I would definitely recommend that you take a break before jumping into Brubaker's run, because it is quite similar stylistically and tonally. So when you I don't know how many issues that is in total with both runs, but that's a lot of comic, and you might find it a little bit hard to take, which I did. Have a break in between the runs, you'll get a lot more out of it. Persevere. If you find the maybe first trade, maybe a bit of trade 2, if you find it a bit of a slog, stick with it, because it's very rewarding. Once you get into trade 3 and you see where he's going with his story arcs, it's a very rewarding read. So I would highly recommend Ed Brubaker's entire run on Daredevil, and I will be moving on to Mark Waid's run, which has recently had Matt Murdock relocate to San Francisco, which is the start of Mark Waid's second run. But I have the first 2 oversized books of his first run in Marvel now, and we'll be reviewing those in subsequent videos. So please guys, you know, let me know in the comments what you thought of Ed Brubaker's run on Daredevil. Try to keep it spoiler free if you can. I do read each and every single comment that's left, so please, you know, comment and subscribe, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.